Good afternoon, neighbors. Again, sorry about that. Our last stream attempt was unsuccessful. So this time we are back. June Margolin, Huntington Matters. This is interview number 8 in our series for election 2025 for the town of Huntington. Behind the camera is, all right, we're up, is Dana Richter, our vice president, who's monitoring the video. And then we have Diane Shaver in the next room, our producer for this stuff and director on our board. Who is monitoring the audio, and we are so happy to meet, because we haven't actually gotten to know Mr. Colavita yet. This is Vincent Colavita, and he is running for superintendent of highways for the Democrat line. And working families too?
Just Democrat. Right?
Just Democrat. Just Democrat, okay. And so we're going to get to know him tonight. So thank you for coming.
Thank you for having me.
All right. So tell us about yourself and why you decided to step forward to serve our community as highway superintendent.
So again, thank you, June. This is great. I really greatly appreciate it. I also like the conversations we were having earlier.
Yeah, during technology breakdown.
It's good. I am in technology, so it was exciting. But to get back, yes, hi, and hello, everybody. I'm Vincent Colavita. I'm running for superintendent of highways here in Huntington. And yes, I'll tell you guys about myself. My wife and I live here in Huntington. We're right on Woodbury Road over here on the other side of the hill from New York Avenue. And we have an old colonial, probably about 160, 70 years old. I think it was built in 1856. Yeah, it's beautiful, but a lot of work. A lot of work, and I'm not very handy. Well, I am handy, but it's a lot of work. And but we also have 3 lovely dogs, and that we let out in the back, and they have a great time, and they love Huntington. We love Huntington. We bought the house 10 years ago. I've had family that have lived in Huntington for the better part of 40 to 50 years.
Wow. So you spent a lot of time.
I've been out here for most of my life. I'm a lifetime Long Islander. I grew up basically on the Northern Boulevard corridor. So that's where I'm coming from. And I love, what I love the most about Huntington is, what my wife loves as well, is that when we moved here, we didn't expect how diverse and historic this community really truly is. And then surrounding that, the sense of community that exists here, it's something that is like cherishable.
It's totally unique, right?
It's very unique.
From someone not born and raised here.
It is.
And being a Long Islander, we are very, right? You have that experience. We're very different.
It is. It's very Long Island, but it is a different Long Island. And that's the thing. The town supports itself like a family. So that quality is something that my wife and I greatly adhered to. So along with that, parks, amazing. The town is beautiful. Everything's beautiful, and everybody's very nice. And that kind of like, when it was an opportunity to come and do something for like my civic duty locally, and there were options from the Democratic committee to do, I had like a knee-jerk reaction, and I said, and my family has a history of being involved in politics.
Oh, do you?
I have a cousin who's a state assemblyman in the northeast part of Queens, I think the 26th district. And my parents were very active. All my aunts and my uncles, and my aunt Mary. She's probably gonna kill me for saying that, but my aunt is also very active in the committee out here, and she's very active in the community. She's
same last name?
Kelly, Irish.
Okay.
Mary Kelly. So without calling her out, she's gonna get mad at me for doing that. So she worked in the public library. It sat in the station for about 30 years, and she just recently retired. Howew, all of that.
So you have deep ties here.
There are ties. There are deep ties here. So my cousins all graduated from Huntington High. So I have deep ties. But it's also the beaches, the parks. It's great. And I always viewed, when I came out this way, because Nassau County, Queens, I always viewed Suffolk as the entrance to Suffolk County. Huntington as the entrance to Suffolk County. Yeah, right. So as part of my civic duty, I wanted to get involved in my community, because I don't think I know that my wife and I aren't leaving here anytime soon in the foreseeable future. So I thought it would be an opportunity to get involved. And the superintendent of highway was something I thought I could take my skill sets, being in technology management, leadership management, budget management, people management, and taking that and offering that. Actually, mainly service management is making sure that people have operating technology to be able to do what they have to do on the day-to-day. Taking that and correlating that into a very important service department like the highway department here in town. So I thought I could use that to offer my, I guess, my skill sets to the town that I love. So
well, thank you for that, because it is very tough to run for office. Nobody really realizes how.
It's my first time.
I'm not saying that you shouldn't, as any neighbor, step forward and do it. It's just that it takes a lot of planning, sacrifice.
It does.
You, your family, energy, physical health, stamina, all that stuff. And it's wonderful and it's rewarding. It's almost like climbing a mountain, right? Super difficult. You get to you're like, ah!
Yeah, I know.
You know, whether you win or not, you're like, I did it.
Yes.
You know what I mean?
Well,
I mean, winning is better.
Winning is always
winning
good,
is much better, but it is.
But I also, you know, I also
appreciate that.
Yes,
I also sacrifice your wife is making.
It's thank you very much.
Yeah.
Oh my gosh. Yes. Okay.
We got it.
Okay, so I'm glad you said that.
Definitely.
So the and it is my first time running as a candidate or doing anything in terms of politics. You know, I kind of sat idly by as things happened in our world, and I realized, you know, what can I do? I can offer myself to it, and that's how I view it. But it is a challenge. It is an entirely different experience from working a desk job or being just like commuting into work, going back home and everything. You always have to be on. You have to meet a lot of people, and that's a lot of also what I want to attempt to do is to get to know the community, get to know the people here. Everybody's lovely, everybody's amazing, and everybody cares for each other. And I want to be a part of that whole effort that the town has, bipartisan on both sides. So, so if you really want to know where it's coming from, that's where it comes from.
That makes sense now.
Yes. So, and
because we were like, where are you coming from? Like, you're like, I've been here 10 years and now I'm running roads.
I know. Exactly.
That's very bold.
And you should also, I should also say, I'm sorry, Aunt Mary, too. So I think to give her that for putting her, you know, she's also my treasurer for the committee. But everybody supports me, and I want to, and I thought I can use my skill sets to make things more operational and efficient at the town. And I know how important the highway department is for our town.
Huge.
Especially for the people that work there. It's huge. Yes. It's a massive, it's a very big responsibility. And I'm up for the task for it. And I want to make sure that I get people to be, you know, I instill confidence in people and get out there and vote for me, and to make sure that I'm making the right decisions on behalf of our community. So,
all right, great. So what have you accomplished in your work experience or volunteer experience that you are most proud of that directly benefits, it says our community, but really your community, wherever you work?
So you're right, because, you know, there's limited history here of me in the town, and I'm hoping to increase that. However, in my career, in my profession, what I am good at and what I really find rewarding is bringing like different coalitions of people, different groups of people together for a common goal, for the same solution, and making it an accomplishment and getting it to the finish line, and making it as enjoyable and healthy and helpful as possible for the stakeholders and the people involved doing it. So in my current position, I sit in the center between lawyers, high anxiety, highly stressed, very motivated, competitive people, and then technology folks who are systems oriented, project oriented, and making sure things go. Then I have the business side, and I have to make sure that the things are running to a T. And then I have the operations side. So there are artists in there, because there are marketing and branding, and making sure that they're utilized to their full extent to be able to make it. Make them happy and make it presentable to our stakeholders. So what I like to do and I found myself in my leadership qualities and my skills there is to be able to bring many different voices together to the same table, identify what the key goals are and what the outcomes are going to be, and then making sure that we're achieving that and making sure that nobody's left behind and everybody has a voice and everybody gets a piece of the pie, right? So. Yeah. And I've done that numerous times throughout my career, and it's basically what I am hired for, to come in and build those coalitions, to do that engagement, that outreach with people, and making sure that they're heard and that I'm listening to them and that they're heard. So that also correlates down, if I can
You want to answer one of the other ones?
Well, I can, well,
ask the questions. We give everybody questions.
I'll say, you know, I'll add to that too. And it goes to maybe something I said last night at the meet and greet. It's that service aspect around it too, because once you put a solution into place, or you put a plan into place, or you do something, you need to maintain it. And, you know, there's service management, there's proactive service management, so that you can mitigate things that happen ahead of time. So I think bringing something proactive engagement, proactive management, proactive project planning towards the highway department would do better than being reactive and having to respond, especially in social media world and everything like that, respond to these requests that happen. If there's a project plan and it's ambitious, you know, it's a town road, it's a highway system with 800 miles worth of roads. It's huge. It's a lot of stuff. There's a lot of drains. There's 20,000 drain basins. So there's a lot. So it's, but putting together a plan that will allow us to make sure that we're attending to each one of these options, these needs, is from a service management game plan would be very important for the town. So that's
excellent.
Yep.
All right. So what do you have to say to disengaged voters who think their vote doesn't matter, and how will you inspire them to get to the polls?
It's
a good one, right?
It is a good one. And I'm going to say, as what my father always said to me, no matter what, you get out there and you vote. I don't, you know, if your head's hanging off to the side, or you're barely able to get out there and vote. He thought it was the most important civic duty that we have as Americans, and I believe the same thing.
Was he a veteran?
He was not a veteran. He was a very big Democrat and civil rights. Yeah, he was very
civil rights, right?
And he was a lawyer too. So he was
incredible.
And they were involved in politics in Queens, my mom and him. So he thought so he instilled that in me. But I think also in this current environment, you know, we have local government. Local government is really important. And I want to make sure that our voters know that how important local government is now, especially since we don't have a government in the federal level. We need to have
everything's shut down, right?
Yeah, we need to have our local voices heard, and making sure that our local services are attended to. And you know, that's a bipartisan thing. And I think that's another thing I love about Huntington, is that it is a bipartisan, you know, there's a bipartisan essence, because we want to all just make Huntington a great place to live.
Correct.
And I think no matter what side of the fence you are, where you are, I think getting out to vote November 4th for your local candidates is one of the most important things you can do if you love this town and if you love being an active member of our democracy.
And your quality of life.
Yeah,
too.
It's quality of life. Yeah, improve the services. You make the you make the decisions when you make that vote.
Yeah,
so please get out there and vote. Yeah.
Awesome. All right, magic wand. You ready?
Yeah.
If you could guarantee to get exactly what you want right away, what is something you would fix or improve in the town of Huntington? And what is something you never want to make changes to?
Okay. So can I start with the things I don't want to make changes to?
100%.
Okay. I don't want to.
Start anywhere you want.
It's your time.
Going back to what I said earlier, the beaches, the parks, the green spaces, this place in Huntington, I don't want to ever touch any of that. I want to make it better. I want to make it grow, because I think that is the quality of Huntington. We have really great green spaces. We do a good job. The town does a good job currently. I think we can do an even better job. And that maybe correlates into what I would like to do. And I don't, you know, it goes into like making our non-vehicular, the active transportation aspect options for our folks who like to bike ride, who like to walk on like nice, you know, level sidewalks, just to improve that infrastructure and making sure that people have access, especially our disabled folks, have access to something like the HART system. And I think this can fall underneath the remit of the highway department, but making sure that that's attended to, and what the highway department can do to make sure that that happens. So that's maybe one thing. And I'm going to cheat. I'm going to do another thing too. With respect to the parks and our beaches and the watershed, I would like to have a open door to really look into how to improve our drains and what happens to the filtration that goes into our bays, making sure that there is maybe a little bit higher level of an environmental analysis, both from the highway department and what we do with the chemicals that we might use to do our street sweeping, to do our plowing and our sanding, to improve that, to make sure that we're not doing anything that's going to damage the waterfront, especially what what is going into our drains and then eventually out into the waterfronts. So, so those are two things.
Most of it's runoff.
Yeah. So yeah, that's
Very good.
if
All
I
right. Civics lesson.
okay.
Just because we're all grown-ups and we don't all know what these positions do. What is the job description of the superintendent of highways, and what are they responsible for?
So it's
Roughly, in your own words.
roads,
Right.
drainage.
Yeah.
We have 800 miles worth of roads. I think we have 20,000 catch basins. That's the drainage. Responsible for pothole repair, responsible for making sure that the roads are paved and they're safe for people to drive on. We're also responsible for brush clearage, especially on the power lines. We're also responsible for, I think, the lines on the roads and all. Oh, well, it's plowing, yes. And I think that goes all. Thank you very much, by the way. I was going to get to it.
Yeah, you are. Sorry.
Yes, a very important aspect.
She tries to step into
Thank
I
you so
do.
much.
And if you see them going like this, it's for me, not you.
So making sure we have plows out there, and that's also contracting with vendors to be able to come out and do it for us and making sure that they're doing it correctly.
Yes.
The other part of that side of the coin is making sure that they're not doing enough damage on the road that we have to fix that every season.
Right.
And then, and making sure that we're being responsive as well as, proactive, again, going back into that with respect to working on our roads. And, there's also the part of it where you have to, there's, Andre, my opponent, he's bought some new equipment. He has equipment that he's maintaining. So it's maintaining the equipment that we have, so we don't have any degrading assets within the highway department. I could go into the inside baseball. It's also to figure out how to get revenue for the highway department and making sure, so that's working. And I'm probably jumping again, collaborating with our state and county folks to be able to give us extra money, or anything in terms of a grant or something like that, because revenues are hard to come by. So that's negotiating, talking to Ed or Cooper, hopefully, and then being able to get them to work with us. Again, it's also negotiating with vendors, because we can't do everything in-house. I think Andre has done some good work to be able to get some machines and to get teams skilled up. And that's another part of it too, have teams skilled up to be able to do some in-house work. However, we can't facilitate that entire remit, 800 miles worth of roads without help from contractors. So it's going to be, working and negotiating and talking to them to make sure that we're getting the best for our dollar, and quality work out of that. And then lastly, and I know this is going a little bit, it's making sure that the staff has a good career path, they have good training, that they're actually building a career for themselves within the highway department, and they can actually, raise a family here in Huntington at the same time. So those are my concerns. I think that's the entire remit. There's maybe a little bit of other things, maybe some signage, maybe some stuff. Thank you.
That's great. Signage. Yeah, I think might be some signage.
There's some signage. Yep.
Yeah, I think so.
Yeah.
All right. Have you worked, so the next is about experience. Have you worked in construction, highway maintenance, or public works before? If so, how has that experience shaped your understanding of the superintendent of highway job? If not, what experience and qualities do you possess that would make you a successful superintendent of highways?
So I don't have that experience.
No summers working.
So when I was in, yes, I do have that. When I was in college, I was on the tops of buildings in Manhattan doing duct work with my uncle. Yeah. So that was
familiarity with trades.
I'm slightly handy. Don't ask my wife that. She'll say the opposite. But no, I don't have that, that full scale, municipal level either of working in construction. I don't have the construction management background but I do have a systems and project management background that could be applied directly to it. I have a leadership. I have leadership capabilities that would translate directly into it. I'm also a very fast and quick learner. I can figure things out pretty quickly, and that's also part of my leadership skill set, is that I can comprehend and take in a lot of information and come up with a rational and reasonable approach to something that fits all needs. So, and I think that's a quality I think the highway department fits into, because there's a lot of contingent and other people that need to be involved in anything that the highway department does. And there's a lot of different groups within the highway department that need to be, allocated.
A lot of moving parts.
There are a lot of moving parts, and making sure that that's all done efficiently and effectively, I can do that. Another thing is too, I always hire pretty well. I hire people that are effective at their jobs. Just today, I was commended for hiring somebody who did a great job today. So I take pride in that, making sure that, and I'm sure the highway department has talent there. I'm also very good at allocating talent and making sure that people who have experience are sharing that experience with younger folks and making sure that they're able to take that to the next level. Mentoring them up, yes.
All right. So, how would you describe your leadership style?
So,
what steps do you take to ensure accountability, communication, and efficiency from administrative staff to maintenance crews?
Sure. So, like I said, I feel I'm a fair and inclusive leader. I want to see people succeed. I want to see people achieve. I want to see them achieve as a collective group. I want to see them learn, and I want to see them get commended for what they do, and want them to be respected and treated fairly. That's how I would want to be treated. That's how I would treat my folks, and that's how I want our community to treat our teams. So what I would be doing was be making a focus on that respectability quality of our teams to make sure that they know what our highway department is doing on behalf of the community. And in terms of efficiency, it goes back into that service management aspect, making sure that everybody's committed to that one goal, making sure that we're responsive at the same time as being proactive and making sure that our roads are safe for everybody, as well as our drainage and any projects that we undergo. Yes. Yeah. So.
All right, great. And then the budget. I know this is
I do want to say
a good one for you.
I do want to say one more thing. I'm also I'm a very loyal leader. I also like loyalty, and I will defend anybody on my teams to the nth degree. People at work know that about me too. I have put people in their place plenty of times because I thought they were treating somebody poorly. That doesn't happen underneath my remit. Everybody has a fair shot. Everybody is respected. Anyway, that's
great.
Okay.
All right, so budget, sorry.
Yep.
How would you manage the department's budget to ensure resources are used efficiently and effectively, particularly given the ongoing backlog for road maintenance? It's like a never ending.
It will. So that's the big thing, is that it is a never ending, it's a never ending process, right? And, Andre is pushing to get to, either 400 miles or a quarter of them all done within, by November 4th. It's admirable, but is that like a good project plan, or is that just to get it done before? Either way, it takes a lot of work and it takes a lot of effort to make sure that that's planned out and that's planned out efficiently. And that's where the budget comes into play, because I think without revenue, without allocating revenue and managing your budget efficiently, you're not going to be in a good position to be able to get any more funds or to have the trust of the community to be able to do any further work. But at the same time, the budget is going to be slim no matter what, right? So you're going to have to work to get more revenue, and it's working with the town, the county, and the state to be able to do that. But in the budget, I think, for terms of efficiency, is looking at things like expenditures that might seem outdated, degrading assets that might exist that we could probably let go of and mitigate and open up some free space, making sure that we're spending efficiently on our contracts with our third-party vendors. I think that's handled by the board a lot, but making sure that what we're doing, we're having a say, that department is having a say in what makes the most efficient, most effective way at saving taxpayer dollars, right?
Yeah.
So, that takes a lot of work. It takes a lot of analysis, looking at the budget, and it's probably take a little bit of time if I were elected to do some extra work and to dialing into the budget. I know the town does take the budgets very seriously. But I think there are some parts of the budget that we can look into that can really be kind of removed and then allocated to other things. The other part of the budget, I don't think any project can ever get done without people, right? So I know the highway department is a well-staffed department, but I think that we could probably add a few more jobs, and I would like to increase the roles. I think that's a good thing for the town, to make it look like we're adding folks to the town, but not have it impact the taxpayer dollars too much. But at the same time, it will improve our efficiency because more people will help us with more resources to be able to be at capacity, right? So vehicles versus people, I go to that analysis on that, and supplies, and making sure that we're utilizing our supplies to the perfect degree. how much salt do we need on any given season, right? Maybe over this last couple of seasons it's been warmer, like, well, maybe we can do a cost analysis there, figure out maybe, and work with other towns to figure out, like, what are they doing? Are we buying our own? Should we be looking for somebody to supply it to us? So those types of questions, you know, those are all new things I'll be coming into, and I can learn real quick. But yes, budget comes into play, a big deal, and making sure that we're.
And just so the neighbors know, the highway department budget is a separate line item on our taxes.
It is.
It's actually not part of the town of Huntington's budget. They have their own.
Yeah.
And I mean, the town of Huntington does dictate how much that budget's going to be, and it's pretty much hasn't changed in a really long time.
Yeah.
And that's also to keep us from under the tax cap. But then that puts additional stresses on the
department to be able to be proficient. I know that.
And all the expenses are raised.
So I mean, you can.
So you have to be super creative about
You got to skim. Yeah, you got to like finesse the budget and then ask and find the monies, right?
Yeah, exactly.
And that's why I'm looking at it. Maybe they're degrading assets we can get rid of. There are things that we can like maybe remove ourselves from and be a little bit innovative in the approach that we take towards that. That would improve efficiencies and also maximizing the revenue that the town is. And it does. It shows up in the tax on the upper right-hand quarter. It's a separate line item. Yep. Okay.
Right. Yeah.
Okay.
What is your strategy for securing additional state or federal funding to address infrastructure needs and safety concerns? Are you good at grants?
So
have you ever done a grant?
I might have helped with a grant.
Okay.
I've never done a grant. You've never. Well, I would work with, I would actually look into hiring or working with somebody for grant writing to be able to figure out. I also think that it would be helpful too, to like, building the relationships with like our local, our state and county level folks. There's Steve Stern, there's Rebecca, and folks in the county legislature that we can work with to be able to see if we can allocate or jump into some of these larger county projects. That might be something that I like, write a grant that states like why there needs to be a little bit of money set aside for anything that might impact. I don't know that. I don't know.
County roads in our town.
County roads in our town, making sure that that happens prior to anything bigger, and then parlaying that into like they make a sub for the roads that connect into the town, the county roads that we own, so that we can be able to make sure that happens. So I mean, there's ways to do it. It's just it takes a lot of talking, meeting, and handshaking, and making sure that you plead a good case to be able to, I know Andre can go to Ed and bring cookies and stuff like that, but I mean, I think no matter what we do, we can like that's the same thing, and then we can get up into the higher levels of our, the coffers. I don't know what we're going to get from the federal government, but we can definitely get from the state, and we can definitely get from the county, especially since the county and the state have some really good projects on Long Island coming, especially the sewer system too.
Our sewers, it's going to be like a ballet, our sewers, with the highway and the.
It'll be interesting.
And paving.
It will be, and that's working with all of the different constituencies.
Yeah, and thankfully I think the state is doing the paving.
They are, but like at the same time, it's our road. These are our neighborhood. Like make sure that the highway's got a, I got a voice for our community with whatever they do, right? Like don't just slap some pavement on and like ruin a couple of sidewalks and an intersection that people are very active in. Anyway,
it's okay. So collaboration, this was a good one. I think we might have already touched on it. How would you approach working with other town departments and outside agencies to coordinate major projects or resolve infrastructure issues?
So, I mean, it goes into like what we just said, and maybe what I said a little bit earlier, is that like, that core thing of bringing people together to have conversations around all of the different voices that we have to hear. Then, it could also be in the community. It can also be at town hall. If we're going to engage on a project for drains and we're missing something in, environment or maritime that we didn't really consider, we have to talk to them. We have to make sure that we're all at the same table and having that discussion, and then bringing them into the fold before we do any work. So I think it just comes into that play of making sure that you're talking to the right people, you're bringing the right people to the table. If your project has enough momentum to it, and there are people that are considered, I think you can go a long way of making sure that town hall is talking to each other. For most of my career, I've dealt with like siloed information and siloed people. I don't think the town works like that, but it also goes into the level of transparency. What you want to portray to the community, you also have to bring that into town hall and make sure that everybody talks to each other. So On a bipartisan level. It doesn't make a difference, like, because there are elected positions. It's not everybody's just, a town worker. Making sure that I'm talking to folks on the town board that are on the other side of the fence and they're seeing the same viewpoints or understanding where my viewpoints are coming from, and why the highway department needs to do X, Y, and Z versus, those types of discussions, and not being afraid of doing that. So
that's great.
Yeah.
All right, paving, we talked about that a lot, but we're going to say one more time, the highway department maintains hundreds of miles, over 800, and drainage infrastructure. How will you decide which projects take priority each season? So you touched on that already.
I did. So yeah, and that comes into like that service management and project planning, proactive project planning that goes into play. It's assessing the maybe starting and then rolling back, like, what is priority, right? Coming out of every season, you're going to be challenged with managing what happened with the plows after the ice, right? So there's like a little bit of mitigation you have to do with that, but I don't want to have to fall into the trap of fixing that every season and then neglecting roads because they're a challenge, and then just having them become big old pothole and paved, asphalt patches over again. So it might go all the way back to understanding, like, what are we asking our plows to do? And then, like, how much plowing is really appropriate, like maybe doing a little bit of an analysis on that, having some more management over an operational understanding around we're hiring people to come in prior to them going out, maybe set some guidelines, see what happens, making sure that they're not taking out like an entire chunk of a, of a sidewalk wall. So just making sure that that's the first part, making sure that we're using the right materials, making sure that we're doing it effectively. But then coming out of that, I think overall on that, you need to understand where we're the least served right now, where are the most complaints coming from, going back into the rolls to see like what was not done prior, making sure, like, if there's a road that hasn't been done in 21 years, we got to go to that road. We got to see what we can do. Is there a reason why we're not going? Yeah. Is there a reason why we're avoiding that road? And it could be a simple thing. It's not a town road. No, I mean, it's identifying what the town road is, but why haven't we gone back to that one? And not look into like, why did we go and do other roads prior to that or anything like that, but then setting priorities.
That can be very complex.
Yeah, that can be very.
There's a lot of reasons why that
there's many reasons, but understanding and then putting together a project plan and a game plan behind like priority, age of the road, worst roads because of plow in the off season. It doesn't have to be in that off, and then making sure that like every time we come out of the season, that's what we're looking towards, and making sure that our teams are effectively going out and doing and managing, and working with our contractors to get them on the on the doll with the asphalt, with their machines, to be able to mitigate those roads as soon as possible. So it's like a mixture of two, because you still need to be responsive, right? So
and then you have the weather.
I mean, the weather hasn't been that bad.
It's a monkey wrench for something. Sometimes, like, you want to fill potholes in the spring, but it's still getting too cold at night and stuff like that.
It's just not going to
figure it out.
It's not going to work. And the other side of the coin too is that I know on your page you get a lot of people saying, "I have a pothole. Take a picture." Sometimes there's people sitting. It's like a sauna, and they're sitting. I think I saw that one. I thought that was funny. So, I mean, being reactive, right? Like, but being responsive in service, like set up an intake system and a servicing system that is not overly reactive, but responsive enough to get people there. Like, not the next, I'll say it the next day, I'll have your road fixed, but having it done so that it fits into the greater goodness of the plan. And then in general, just making sure our paved roads are safe for people, right? If you're going to pave a road, put the lines down as soon as you possibly can, so that we make sure that people aren't driving on the other side of the street. So, I mean, those are some ideas that I've been floating around. So,
definitely a lot of thought into it. How will you address seasonal? Well, this I think is a stupid question.
I think I got it. Well, I got it a little bit.
It was already in. So
his
dumb.
Yeah.
It's dumb. Turn it over.
Okay.
I don't know.
Well, storm debris, like making sure our crews are out there.
I added that.
I like that one because a lot of our.
This was so stupid. I added
that's so. I mean, who wrote it? I hope you. So storm debris. Okay, storm debris though is important for the drains on our roads, because I live on Woodbury, and they're clogged with, everybody's, oh, he's in this because of his drains on his road. No, they're clogged with things I don't even want to discuss because they shouldn't be on our roads.
Right.
And
They shouldn't be
they should not. I mean, I've seen things that are like,
That should be in your private garbage.
yes, exactly. So, and I want to make sure that can go into like having crews that come out after storms,
Yeah.
or making sure that we're on the spot with making sure that the drains are good and clean, making sure we have the equipment to clean the drains out, right, and making sure that street sweeping addresses the drains at the same time, so that like anything coming down the hill is already picked up by a street sweeper. So when the storm comes flying down, so it's a lot of that has to do with stormwater runoff, and that goes into the environmental and the drainage plan that I would like to look into, because a lot of that runoff is going into our watershed. So like there's concern there from an environmental standpoint. I'd like to make sure that analysis and that assessment is done, and maybe a project is put in place that the highway department can take on and get some allocated funds towards. So anyway, yep,
That's good. All right, so it wasn't so dumb after all.
No, it stormed.
Look at that.
It just triggered
I
something
have
in
to
my
leave
head.
it there for Andre too. He's gonna be like, really? It's
I'm sure he'll use my answer. That's totally fine. I know.
I didn't even read the whole question, you guys. That's how bad it is.
Okay.
All right, looking ahead, what are your top priorities for the highway department over the next few years?
I think I said it. I would like to for the department, for the folks in the department, I'd like to upskill them, their profession, make sure that they have and they are afforded a career that they can take either within the town and build a family here, or also take it to the next level at another municipality at a higher level of business. Like just making sure that we have a job and a department that builds up careers and makes people proud of what they do. And that's what I want to do for the folks in the highway department. But the other priorities are basically making sure that we bring in like a service management, a project management aspect, looking into innovative ideas or ways of addressing issues as opposed to just responding to issues, and whether that's budget, people, operations management, solutions management, that's what we can do. So those like kind of instill that, institutionalize that type of game plan, and maybe project teams, setting up teams that are skilled in certain areas, making sure that they're all allocated, and then also increasing the roles. I guess I can go back to the first one. And then third, just making sure that our roads are safe and making sure that people have serviceable roads, making sure that we have the revenue to be able to maintain our community's roads, and making sure that people are proud to be Huntingtonians and they're not like, they're not driving around bumping up and down. Like there is literally one pothole that drives me crazy. It's down by Cold Spring Harbor. It's on Woodbury, down by the train station. And it's at the intersection. I shouldn't even say this. It's at the intersection. It's like a manhole cover. Oh, okay. And every time you either like stop at the light or you drive through the light, it just feels like your entire car just bottomed out because it's just dead center. Anyway, that's not fixing those issues. We can get to those. Number one. But it is making sure that our roads are safe. And I know, Andre shares the same thing that I do. I think we all do. We all want safe roads to drive on. I want to make sure that people can get their kids to school. I want to make sure that everybody can get to work, and I want to make sure that everybody get into their town centers and be able to go shopping at our small businesses, at our businesses, and making sure that they feel like they have a community and a town hall that provides the services that they are so they're paying for basically. Making sure that they're getting their money's worth. So all
right, it's our closing time.
Sure.
We did. I don't think we went over because we had our technology issues. So that started us quite a bit. Finally, what message would you like to share with Huntington residents as they decide who will lead the highway department moving forward?
Sure.
For an ad.
It's almost for an ad.
Yeah, paid ad.
Well, good. Now I don't. So everybody, I just, if I would, in terms of service and making sure that we keep a community like Huntington as pristine, as beautiful, as cherished as it is, basically the entranceway into Suffolk County. I think it's incumbent upon us and a community to make sure that we're doing it effectively, both in terms of the money that you're spending in your tax dollars, as well as how we're doing it and why we're doing it. So we're doing it because we want to make sure that our town and our community is safe. We want to make sure that what we have here is cherished and beloved and invites people to come in. Nobody comes in and says, oh, the roads in Huntington are terrible, you know, if somebody visiting from Massapequa. No, we want to look good. We want to make sure that we are doing it effectively and efficiently on behalf of you and your families. So keeping the roads safe, making sure our drains work, making sure that we have good planning, good project, and we have the right revenue, and we're being innovative, and we're having the right solutions to be able to do that. I hope you can have the confidence that I will bring that to the Highway Department, as well as nurture the Highway Department and all of its employees, and make sure that it is respected within the town, and it's something that you can be proud of. That's what you can get if you vote for me. So thank you very much.
Excellent.
Vote
That
on
was
November 4th.
Vincent Colavita.
Thank you.
We have in-person voting November 4th, and we have early voting starting October 25th through November 2nd. And you can early vote at either Dix Hills Fire Department or the Huntington Public Library Station branch in Huntington Station. And thank you so much for joining us.
Thank you for having me.
Vincent.
This was great.
I appreciate
Thank
it.
you.
Again, we'll be back on today's Friday, right? I don't
Yes.
even know what year we
This is the best.
in. I don't
This is the
know.
best way to spend a Friday evening with you guys. So thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
All right, so Monday the 20th at 10 a.m. is our next interview, and it will actually be with Andre Sorrentino,
Okay.
Highway Superintendent.
Yep.
And then our following one is Thursday with Rebecca Sen early in the morning.
Awesome.
And we have 2 more to schedule. So we'll let you know. Keep an eye out, and you can see all of the videos at huntingtonmatters.com or on our YouTube channel at Huntington Matters. Good night.
Thank you. Good night.